Welcome to the Be Gritty podcast, where sports psychology meets business strategy for entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Coach Holly. Now let's be gritty. Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about one of the toughest mental fitness aspects of entrepreneurship. Really, it applies to all areas of life. Now, there's a lot of mental fitness challenges when it comes to entrepreneurship. There's imposter syndrome, there's lack of confidence, there's overwhelm, there's lack of the ability to stay consistent. There's all these things that we deal with as entrepreneurs. But there's one thing that kind of takes the cake, and that is the ability to celebrate other people's success, especially when they're getting the very thing you want when you're not getting it yet. That is a challenge, let me tell you. And I think all entrepreneurs deal with it to some degree. Some have overcome that challenge early on. Others struggle with it a lot more than some other entrepreneurs might. And we struggle with it in life. We can struggle with it in our athletics. And this is a very relevant topic for me right now, because what I want to talk to you about a little bit is the marathon side of me, and then how that relates to entrepreneurship. So today, right now, at this very moment, I should be getting on an airplane and heading to Sacramento, California to run the California International Marathon, or CIM. But I'm not. I should be trying to make the Olympic trials this weekend. It's the very last weekend to make the Olympic trials for 2024. The window closes on December 5th. So this is the last weekend to do it, but I'm not there. Why? Well, because I've been sick, and I've been sick for the better part of 2.5 years. But this year I have been a little bit more extremely sick. So last year I was at California International Marathon, and I was supposed to run the marathon last year as well, but I had gotten the flu, of course, 3 weeks before the race and was out for 12 days, and it just wasn't going to happen for me. But I went and celebrated anyway. I went and flew out to Sacramento. I visited some friends out there that I have, and I celebrated all my teammates and all my friends who made the trials that weekend or who ran a race that weekend. It was super fun, and I was so glad that I went. But I knew, I was like, okay, next year, this is going to be the last shot, and I'm going to be there next year, and I'm going to make the Olympic trials. I have been on this journey for about 7 years trying to make the Olympic trials, and I've really only had one legitimate shot at it within the windows being open, because the qualifying windows are only open for a certain amount of time. And I've been unable to hit the time standard because I haven't really been able to race a marathon in the last couple of years. So this weekend, while I should be there doing that very thing, I am not, because I have barely ran in several months just due to all this lung issues and inflammation and things that I just can't even go run without my heart rate spiking to 170 or 180 on a easy jog. So I have had to take time off to heal and get healthy. Now, here's the challenge, is that all my teammates and a lot of my friends are headed to CIM this weekend to do the very thing I wanted to do, to get the very dream I have wanted and worked so hard for 7 years that because of something out of my control, I can't do. And you know what starts to creep in? Jealousy. And let's be honest, guys, like, this is what happens when we set big goals. And when we set big goals, we set expectations around that, and we get around people that are doing those very big goals and those very big things that we want to do because we want to be inspired by all of them. And they inspire us so much. But the hard part comes in when they get a chance, or maybe they even accomplish the very thing that we want to accomplish and get a chance to take a shot at, and maybe we don't even get the chance to take a shot at it. And that can be really difficult for us, and disappointment can come in. And that's not just in athletics, that's in entrepreneurship too. You might have started a coffee shop, you might have started a retail business, maybe you started an online marketing company or an online business, selling things on Shopify or whatever it may be. And maybe you're seeing other people's success and you're going, well, when is my turn? How come I can't succeed like that? What are they doing differently? Why can they succeed and I can't? And we can start to have these questions swirl and swirl and swirl. And I actually reached out to my sports psychologist this week because I was like, Is it possible to be extremely and genuinely excited for every single person this weekend that I know or even don't know that is going to make the trials and even has a shot at making it, but also feel a little bit jealous? Or maybe a lot bit jealous at some points. And she told me, she's like, it's absolutely normal to feel all of those things at once. Both things can be true. We can be jealous and also be genuinely excited for people. And I have taken the role of cheerleader on my team over the last couple of years because every time I'm supposed to race, I'm usually sick. So I just still go because I'm not sick enough to not be around people. It's just my body, it has been having all these weird things going on. So I go and celebrate them and I go and cheer them on during their race. And quite honestly, it's one of the funnest things I've ever done. It is so fun to watch people achieve their dreams, even when it is your own dream. There can still be, though, a little bit of pain while you're doing it and sadness and disappointment. And we have to let ourselves feel those things because, quite frankly, if we don't, we just shove it down, we start to get resentment building up. And it's possible to even get entitlement building up, going, well, it should be my turn. And why do they get to do it and I don't? And I've worked so hard for so long and they made it in only a year or two of training. And I've been training for 7 years and da 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 da. We can get down that really awful spiral very quickly, actually, if we don't take time to process the emotion and get it out. So I had to take some time this week and go like, oh, this doesn't feel fair. Like, oh, this is so hard. But when I remember that other people getting this opportunity or getting their shot takes nothing away from me and that they're not the same, right? It's not, oh, they get it and so I don't. That's like an orphan mentality, right? We want to stay in the abundance mentality. And when I can remember like, you know what? I don't actually know their entire journey either. Maybe they've trained for 7 years, or maybe, hey, maybe they only trained for 1 year and they get to make the trials and it just worked out for them that way. That's actually super awesome. You know why? Because I almost had that same story, but I didn't, right? But I went out and ran my first marathon faster than a lot of people wish maybe they could. I qualified for Boston every time I ran a marathon, even when it was a slow one, right? So it's all relative. And I think that when we get into that comparison of like, well, how come they got such an easier journey? We actually don't know their journey. Whether it's in business or athletics, we don't know what it took for someone to take the risk to start a business and go after a big goal. We don't know what their journey's been along the way. And a lot of times we make these assumptions like, oh, it was easy for them. And you know what? The reality is sometimes it is easier for some people than others. And that's okay. That's just life. A lot of times we don't understand, we don't know their story. We don't know what brought them to this point. We don't know what other disappointments they've had. Sometimes we just view people at the mountaintop and forget that they had to take their own journey to get to the top of the mountain too. They didn't just arrive there. They have a journey too. And when we can remember and look at the fact that, okay, this is my journey and they have their journey, and we can remember that there is more to being an entrepreneur or an athlete than the end goal, we can start to look back and appreciate the process and move into a place of gratitude, which is exactly what my psychologist told me to do. She said, remember, go into a place of gratitude. And that can sound cliche to some of us, like, oh, gratitude journal, blah, blah, blah. We all know it. But there is a powerful thing that happens when we choose to sit down wherever we're at in the mountain, right? We're all climbing up it to hit our goals. And we turn around and we look down the mountain at how far we've come. I've been on this journey for 7 years, you guys, to make the Olympic trials. It's been a long journey. But when I sit down and I choose to leave jealousy or resentment towards whatever's going on in my body, like all the things, if I can choose to lay that down for a second and I sit down, I turn around and I look down the mountain at the 7 years, I realize, oh my gosh, I have met some of the most amazing people. I have traveled to some really cool places that maybe I wouldn't have traveled to. I have gotten to experience things that I had only dreamed about just being on the journey, not even reaching the destination. And actually, when I think about it, the destination, if and when I hit the Olympic trial standard, maybe for the next round for 2028, I wonder to myself sometimes, I know it's going to be an amazing race to go and run if I ever get the opportunity, but it only lasts 2 hours and 30 something minutes, right? And maybe you take into account the whole weekend and it's like 3 days. Well, I have been on this journey 7 years already. And by the time I get there, that's another 4 years from now. So if I hang my hat on those 3 days that I want so bad, or that one race for 2.5 hours that I want so bad, and I say it'll only be worth it if I get there, then that's 11 years of process that I'm going to miss out on being grateful for, and learning, and seeing how far I've come and growth. And I'm basically dismissing all of the things that happened in those 11 years. Or if I give up now and I don't even try again, I'm going to miss out on another 4 years of relationships and opportunities, and races, and excitement, and the struggle and the fun of chasing a big goal. And I think in entrepreneurship, we can get to this place of like, well, I've been doing this business for 5 years, or I've been doing this business for 10 years, and I'm just not seeing breakthrough. But if we can sit down and we can turn around and we can look at how far we've come up the mountain and all the process, and start to be grateful, and not just fake gratefulness, but actually find specific moments in time that we did have breakthrough, that we did achieve something, that we launched our first product, that we actually took the goal or took the risk to go after a big goal and start a business. If we can look back and appreciate those moments in time and catalog those moments in time, we start to easily get into a place of gratitude. And that puts us in a huge place to be able to celebrate other people's success. But if we can't get to a place of gratitude, we sit in a place of jealousy and resentment and why not me, which is really just self-pity. And it's okay to feel those things, but we have to process it out. We have to let it out, right? Because if you just stuff it in there, it's just gonna like percolate in all not good ways, right? And it can affect your health. It can affect your mindset. It can affect your relationships. We need to get the emotion out. We need to process it. We need to take the time to feel the pain and disappointment, because that is real. I am super bummed. I'm sad. I've cried. It's a bummer that I'm not going to run and even just get a shot at making the Olympic trials. My body hasn't given me a single shot to even try this last 2 years. And that's really painful and can be very disappointing. And so I let that emotion come out and I feel that. And then I sit down and I catalog, what are the things in the last 7 years that I've gotten to do because I just took the risk to try to go after this goal. And I start to write those things down. So this is an exercise that you can all do. Catalog, sit there, visualize yourself sitting on the side of the mountain. However far up or down on the mountain you are, doesn't matter. Look back, catalog, write down the milestones, the celebrations, the good times, the things, the people you've met, the experiences you've had, the trips you've taken, the conferences you've gone to, all of those things. What have you also learned along that way? 10 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, do you wish you were at the place you're at now? And start to feel that gratitude of like, wow, I've come a long way. And wow, I've made a lot of cool relationships. And wow, I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about business. I've learned a lot about going after goals. Because if all you do is hinge everything on that outcome that only lasts maybe a couple hours, a couple days, a couple years, and you miss out on all the treasures that you have gathered along the way, that would be a bigger disappointment than you actually not hitting the ultimate goal. Because there's so much treasure and wisdom and value in the process that you would have missed out on. And then you get one of the most powerful things And the hardest things, like I said at the beginning in mental fitness, is to celebrate the success of others when they're getting the very thing you want and you're not there yet. But one of the most powerful things in mental fitness is when you have the ability to not fake it, but genuinely cheer on the people that are getting the very thing you want. There's something powerful that happens every time I do that. Every time I went to a race that I was supposed to run but couldn't because I was sick and I cheered people on. I think I said this before, but I would cry, I would tear up. And it was amazing to watch these people. It felt like I was doing it, like I was with them out there, and they're my teammates, and cheering them on, and realizing they're getting their day. Do you know how amazing that is? Because you know how amazing it would be when you get your day. And so I just want to encourage you, like, get to that place of gratitude so you can get to that place of really genuinely cheering people on, because it is so worth it. It chips something away at you every time you do it. And I honestly wish I was going out to CIM this weekend. I wish I would have canceled my plane tickets, because, oh man, it would be so fun to just be there at the finish line, just watching everybody and cheering them on. But I will be on my phone watching and cheering people on. You can know that for sure. But what I want to talk to you about one other thing before we end today, and that is really recognizing the breakthroughs that you may have had. And I'm not talking about just along the journey that we talked about earlier, but sometimes you're going to get a breakthrough in figuring out why what you're doing isn't working. And that breakthrough might be worth more than anything. Last week, we realized why I have been sick for so long. We discovered mold in our trunk line, in our furnace, in our crawl space, in our electrical room, and on 13 different vent covers in our house. So black mold has been spraying throughout my house for who knows how long. We don't know how long. But that is most likely why I have been so sick this year, and why my body is not cooperating, and I have these weird water retention and inflammation and all these things. Can't breathe when I'm running, all like constant bronchitis, pneumonia, all the things. That breakthrough is huge for me, because what that does for me is, now when we get all that out of our house and remediated and all the things, and we go through a mold detox process for our family, I get my life back. Hopefully my kids' random leg pain and stomach pain go away, and the health issues, the fatigue and like brain fog that both my husband and I have been feeling, and then obviously all my respiratory issues. Like, this could set us on a whole new life. I'm going to be able to run again. I'm going to be able to do even more in my business and help more entrepreneurs and help more people chase their goals and dreams. Why? Because I'm going to have so much more energy. I'm not going to be coughing all the time. That breakthrough, even though it's not the one I wanted this weekend, it's not the breakthrough I was like super excited to have, right? Like making the Olympic trials. But this breakthrough might just set me up to make it in 2028, because if I'm healthy, I can run fast, and I know it. And I have all the other tools I need that I've gathered in the journey of 7 years. Because you see, I know what my treasure chest holds. I know all the skills and the different coaching and all the different information that I've gathered over the 7 years that I have been on this Olympic trial journey. And now I got this breakthrough that finally I know why I've been sick. And now we have a reason why it happened, one, which is huge. If you can diagnose the problem in your business or in your health or in your athletics, you actually can move forward. For so long, it's been so frustrating because we didn't know why this was happening and why I couldn't run and why my heart rate was doing all these weird things and why all this stuff was going on. It was so frustrating, but we finally have an answer. And the relief that that gives you in your business, in your life, and whatever is huge. And that breakthrough is going to propel me forward to my goals. So don't discount the other breakthroughs you're getting along the way to get the actual goal that you're trying to achieve, because those breakthroughs are going to set you up for that success and maybe getting that outcome. Now, if I never get the outcome of making the Olympic trials, will I turn around and look and say that the last 7 or maybe 11 years when I trained for the next 4 years weren't worth it? Absolutely not. Because I'm going to be able to do what we talked about earlier and go back and look and see the treasure trove of relationships, wisdom, things that I've learned, and how that's going to help me in other areas of life over the last 7 to 11 years. So remember that it's not just about the outcome, but it's also good to have that goal. Why? Because it propels us forward, it drives us forward, but just don't discount the process so that you're able to really cheer those on around you. We want to stay in an abundance mindset that just because someone else has success doesn't mean it takes away from mine. There are plenty of clients out there. There are plenty of people ready to buy from you. You just have to find them. There are plenty of people that you can coach, that you can sell coffee to, that you can mentor, that you can do whatever it is that your business does. There is plenty out there for everyone. That's the abundant mindset. And when you can have an abundance mindset, you can have, this is going to be cliche, but an attitude of gratitude. When you can have those things and really genuinely mean it, and then genuinely celebrate the success of other people and really cheer them on as if you were getting it too, that is when you start to attract that same energy to yourself, that same success to yourself. Why? Because you're opened up to learn from them. You're opened up to ask for advice, to ask for help, to seek out those things. You're motivated to go, what made it work for them? What made them be able to achieve that result? You're able to build more relationships because you have an open mentality and an open mindset to really attract that success to you, because you're not just sitting there giving up. You're still going after it time and time again. And that is one of the parts of being gritty, is that no matter how much disappointment, no matter how much pain you have felt in this process as an entrepreneur, or how much pain I've felt in the process of being an athlete and just not achieving my goals because of weird random things that now, thank you, I have an answer for. But, that pain and that disappointment, if that knocks you out and you decide I'm done, that's the only way you're going to guarantee failure or not hitting your goal, is to say I'm done. But every day you get up and go for that run, every day you get up and still work on your business and do these things and keep yourself healthy physically, right? I encourage every entrepreneur to make sure they have some sort of physical and mental outlet that is helping keep them healthy, both physically and mentally. Why? Because if you are physically healthy and mentally healthy, you're going to be better for your business. So every day you show up and you keep doing those things, and you kill that entitlement and that pride inside of you by going, no matter how hard this gets, I'm going to grit this out. I'm going to be gritty. I'm daring to be gritty and going to go after this dream again and again and again. It is only going to help you attract more success, learn more things, have better relationships and more relationships, because you didn't give up. And even if you never get the final goal you wanted, just remember you gained so much along the way. But my hope for you is that you do get the goal that you're going after. And honestly, that is my hope for every one of my friends and teammates, and even the people I don't know, going after the Olympic trial standard, both men and women this weekend, at any of the marathons going on this weekend and at California International Marathon. I just want to say to you all, I am honestly, genuinely so excited for you. So excited to watch you break barriers, go after goals, achieve your goals. And I hope every single one of you gets the day that you want. I really, really do, because I know that you have worked so hard for that. And if you're going after something in your business right now, I hope that you get whatever goal it is that you were going after for 2023, and that you can set yourself up really well for 2024. And for those of us that missed the goal for the Olympic trials standard this year because we were sick, we had babies, we got injured, something went wrong, it just didn't work out. Don't give up. Keep going after it. I'm going to keep going after it. I don't care what they make the time next time. I hope they don't change it to even faster, but I'm going to still go after it. Even though I'm going to be 38 years old, I'm going after this goal. Why? Because the journey has brought me so much, and the friendships and the people that I've met. Let's just keep going after these goals. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope you enjoyed this episode of celebrating other people's success. It is going to change your life if you can learn to genuinely be happy for other people getting the very thing you're going after. It has changed my life. I absolutely love cheering other people on. That is why I started a coaching business for athletic entrepreneurs, because we all understand this thing of athletics and entrepreneurship and the grit mentality. We get it. We're in the trenches together every day, and I just love cheering other people on. So go after it. Go get it this weekend, you guys. I am so excited for you, and we'll see you next Friday. Thank you for listening to the Be Gritty podcast, where sports psychology meets business strategy for entrepreneurs. If you enjoyed today's episode, leave a review and share it with other entrepreneurs. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our weekly episodes. And dare to be gritty.